Imagine being a werewolf, not by choice, but by fate. Your life is a constant battle of escape and fight, and your sister, powerful and ruthless, is after your life. But what hurts more than her pursuit is the indifference of your mate, a proud alpha who seems to care little for your existence. Yet, in the darkest hour, he emerges as your protector. It's a journey of betrayal, secret, and combat. A war between love and survival is about to unfold. Chapter 9. Okay, so before I start, there's a picture of what her hair looks like at the top. Just imagine it to be whiter than that. All this would do. Just leave him alone, would you? I shouted, and he threw Sam on the floor like he was nothing. You're running away from law and day. How this all even happen? I want an explanation, and I want it now. And what makes you think that I tell you? You've heard enough, as it seems. I said, and before I knew it he was in front of me, pinning me to the wall, his muscular frame hovering against my small known. Don't make me force you to, he said calmly through gritted teeth. I could tell he was pretty angry. What exactly do you want to know? I asked, sighing. You had to find out someday anyway. Everything. Every single thing, he said. Why? It's not like you care anyway. What happened to me doesn't matter to you. I mean nothing to you, and I'm going to tell you nothing. If you aren't satisfied with the information you have, then fine. Don't tell me anything. It's not like I care anyway. I want you out of my land tomorrow before dawn. Good. We were going to leave anyway, I said, and he walked out, slamming the door hard. That was pretty much a good drama. Jonathan, smiling. Well, it wouldn't be if you were the one he was beating up, would it? Sam asked icily. Cool off, man. I was just joking, Jonathan said, but Sam still glared at him. I'm sorry about him, I said, taking my beanie and leaving the room. Around the door there were lots of guards positioned around, and I wondered if they heard. Something told me that they didn't, despite their wolf hearing. I just hope it was true. They turned to look at me as I came out. I could still sight him. He just had to make us angry and disturb my good sleep. We have words not to let you leave the room, one of them, who was bold enough, said as he walked up to me, but I knew there was still a bit of fear in him. You're going to let me walk out now and not do anything about it, I said sternly. But he continued, are you going to question me? I asked, and he shook his head and let me walk away, and none of them said a word as I went. It was pretty easy using my powers to compel the remaining guards to let me through. I really needed to think or calm down. I was really angry at him, mostly, and everyone and everything else. Immediately I was out of his territory. I did the only thing I could. I had no idea where I was going to, but I just wanted to run away from everything. I was hurt and angry. I don't know what I did to deserve a life like this. I finally stopped by a lake. The place was peaceful and the lake was pretty. It was pretty dark and I really couldn't make out anything. I just sat by the bank watching the lake, trying to stop thinking about him. How much he annoyed me, and how law and day would stop at nothing to kill me. It would have really helped if he was understandable, loving and caring. Maybe I'd have even told him about it and stay with him for the time being, knowing I was safe, but he's just totally opposite, and there was 𝐏𝐿𝐲. I really didn't like her, but I know he did. I've always wanted a perfect life, but my life is far from being perfect, and I doubt if it would ever be. I had the urge to cry. I really wanted to. I lost my parents, the only people that ever loved me, my only family. My sister hates me and wants me dead, and I can't even begin to talk about my mate. Everything has gone wrong in my life, and I wanted to shout and question the moon goddess about it, but I chose not to. I am stronger than whatever comes my way. I can overcome it. It would all be over soon. I kept repeating it to myself as a form of transcendental meditation, but in telling me he wanted me out came as a form of rejection, and it hurt me no matter how I tried to hide it. I didn't even know what to do from here. The trip to the vampire kingdom in 𝐿𝐴𝐺 wouldn't be an easy one. I'm not going to deny that I'm scared. I really wanted someone that could comfort me and all. I know I have Sam and Jonathan, but I wanted him too. I realized that I didn't even know his name, and I just left it at that. After all, we weren't going to see again. I sighed softly, trying not to think too much about it. What a damn mate he was. I heard splashing in the lake and turned around to see a figure throwing pebbles into the lake. I really couldn't make out anything, but at least at the moment I wasn't threatened by the person. Damn everything. The person said, throwing the pebble into the lake, and from the voice I could make out that it belonged to a guy. One that I happened to know. Damn that stupid mate of mine, I said, and he turned to look at me. What are you doing here? How did you even get here? He questioned. I came here to find peace and quiet, but it seems like it was short-lived. How did you even get past the guards? He continued. That shouldn't be a question by now, should it? Oh God, what am I supposed to do with her? She's the most annoying person I've ever met. Why, moon goddess. I should have gotten a better me. He said, and that hurt me pretty bad. It didn't really affect me that he called me annoying, but I wasn't his mate was just so painful. You know that you can reject me, right, and save yourself the regret and go running to your woman 𝐿𝐸𝐸. I'm sure she'd make the perfect mate for you now, wouldn't she? I don't doubt that. He said, and that stung more than being stung by a bee. What was I expecting that he'd say I was the one perfect for him? Reject me now, or I will. I don't care about the consequences, but I'm not going to have someone like you as a mate, and if you can't do it, I will. 𝐿𝐸𝐸 Redwoods. Shut up, he said, his tone commanding, but I ignored him. You're not going to stop me from rejecting you so you could parade 𝐿𝐸𝐸 in my face or treat me like the way you do. 𝐿𝐸𝐸 Redwoods. Before I could even complete the statement, he pushed me away harshly and I landed on the floor on my butt, and it was pretty much painful. He moved away too, and I just stared at him in disdain. It was only when the second arrow came flying that I realized to protect me, and we were on some kind of ambush. Great. Couldn't they have let me reject him in peace? Come out wherever you are, he said in his alpha tone, which was pretty much commanding and icy. The person could have come out but chose not to, sending another arrow, which I changed the direction and it hit stuck in a tree instead. He turned to look at me, realizing I did something, but said nothing. I'm going to count to 3, he said coldly. 1 Damon Salvatore. We meet again. A middle-aged man said, coming out alongside 10 to 15 people. Sebastian. Damon said coldly through gritted teeth. It was quite obvious that the air around them was bad and their past too. I actually liked his name. It had a certain whist to it. I would have tried saying it, but now wasn't a time to. Who's this beauty beside you? You think maybe I could have a round with her when you're tired of her? Sebastian Austin Aston got an immediate punch on the face as an answer from him. Don't even think about it. Don't even look at her or else I kill you, he said coldly, punching him repeatedly. Not if I kill you first. Sebastian said icily. Chapter 10 dedicated to Nightfall Queen. For the amazing cover, I'd like to see you try. Damon said, punching Sebastian. Sebastian gave him a punch on the jaw, and from how his fist was in Damon's expression I could tell that it was pretty painful. Damon returned the punch and they just kept on doing that. They were both on the floor now, Damon on top of Sebastian, punching him repeatedly. They both were a sorry sight, but Sebastian looked worse. Sebastian pushed Damon off him and started retaliating. I and Sebastian guys just stood watching. I was just confused as to why they were fighting. They didn't really have a serious motive. I could have just killed you then, Sebastian said, punching Damon on the jaw. We both know you'd never make it no matter how much you try, Damon said, kicking him off. Don't be too sure about that, Sebastian said, smirking. He ordered for his guards to step in and they began attacking him while Sebastian walked up to me. Why waste your time being with him when you can be with me? He said, tracing my jawline. Get your hands off me, I said coldly, taking it out. He was totally disgusting me. You might want to change the way you talk to me, Angel, he said, smirking. I don't think I will, I said, smirking, and he raised his hands to slap me, but I caught it mid-air. He released his hand from my grip and held me tightly. You place that filthy hands of yours on her, and I swear I'd kill you, I heard Damon say as he struggled to get through them and get to me, and Sebastian laughed. I'm right here, Damon. Let me see you come and get me, he said mockingly. He doesn't need to come, I said, breaking free from his grip and kicking him in the groin. He winced in pain, moving backwards, and I quickly took out a dagger I kept in my shoe. I'd like to see what you've got, Sebastian said with a devilish grin, charging towards me. I'd show you, I said, smirking. I dodged him as he charged towards me, aiming for my stomach. I moved quickly, causing him to stagger backwards. I threw the dagger to him and he wasn't quick enough to, causing it to pierce into his shoulder. He winced in pain and took it out, throwing it at me. I caught it mid-air and he came towards me again. He caught me giving me a punch on the face and it was really painful. He held me as he punched me. I kept on kicking him, trying to get away from him. Is that all you've got, Angel? He asked with a devilish grin. No, I answered, slipping away from his grip and sliding under his leg. Slide. He winced in pain. I smirked. I turned to look at Damon and he was handling himself pretty well. He had killed 5 of them, leaving just 5. One was approaching him from behind as he was strangling another, and I used my power, specifically fire, burning him to death, watching as he screamed. I had nearly forgotten about Sebastian, who now held me tightly. So you've got something up your sleeves. We'd see about that when I take you to 𝐊𝐢, he said, grinning. I'm going to get richer than I am. Damon threw a dagger on his shoulder and he went staggering back, letting go of my hands. I quickly used that moment to strike, using a strong wind to push him fiercely until he hit his head roughly on a tree. I threw a dagger on his stomach and walked closer to him. I don't think they get rich in hell, Sebastian, I said as I channeled fire towards him, and he burned, screaming in agony. By the time he was dead, Damon had succeeded in killing all of them. This fighting took all the energy I had left, especially with me using my powers. I was terribly hungry and my stomach crumbled to prove it. Let's get you home and maybe find something for you to eat, he said. Maybe? I questioned. Let's just get away from here, he said, and we began to walk back. I wouldn't have known the way back if it was only me, and it was pretty far. I hadn't realized that as I ran. I walked slowly behind him until we reached the pack house. I didn't even notice how big it was before. As we walked past, guards bowed, and when we walked to the main gate, some of them rushed to check on that alpha, leaving the poor girl who looked weak and needed food alone. He dismissed them with a wave of his hand, then turned to look at me. It was then that I noticed that he was pretty injured. His face was swollen, so was his lips. His clothes were torn and he had a few cuts here and there. Go wash up in that room, he said, pointing at a door. I'd have someone bring some clothes to you and then you can eat. I nodded and did as I was told, not saying a word. I got into the room and laid on the bed for a good 30 minutes before going into the bathroom. I cleaned any blood on me, and then washed up after using a spare brush to brush my teeth. I spent a good amount of time in the bathroom. It was so comforting. I played with the water with my powers. When I was done, I came out wrapping a towel around my body, and true to his words, there was a pile of clothes. I took it, thankful that it wasn't gowns, because I detested those. There was a black long-sleeved top and a sweatpants, and then another black shirt with black leggings and beanies. I was happy that the clothes matched what I wanted. Not wanting to stay in the room further after dressing up, I went downstairs in search of the kitchen, and I found it following the scent of food. I walked into the kitchen and it was massive and well-equipped. I took in the aroma of the food and my stomach crumbled. I didn't even notice that people were staring at me. What do you want? A middle-aged woman who was rolling a dough asked, visibly shaking. Surely I didn't look like a monster now, or did I? I turned to look at them, and almost every one of them had that look on them. I really didn't like it. I was hoping to get some food, I answered. And why are we going to feed a 𝐾𝐚𝐤 who isn't worthy of a thing? A girl spoke up. She was pretty, having long black hair, bright brown eyes, a petite figure, pouty pink lips, and her skin was radiant, not having a single spot like mine. I walked up to her and looked at her, and although she tried not to show it, she was scared and intimidated. I just asked for food now, didn't I? I said, moving closer to her while she kept moving backwards. She took a butcher knife from where the knives were kept and pointed it at me. Don't come close or I'd stab you, she said, quivering with fear. Really, you would? You're not even holding the knife properly, I said, laughing. She turned it around quickly and continued. I'd kill you if you come any closer. Okay. Since I'm so scared, I'd stay back, I said, and she smirked. Now out of this kitchen, you little worthless piece of trash, she said, and I laughed. For someone who can't do anything, you have a loud mouth, I said, and she just coughed. You won't be telling me that when you are killed, will you? She asked, smirking, and it was my turn to scoff. That kinda pissed her off, and she came closer. If no one has the balls to kill you, I will, she said, determined. I laughed. It would take more than a knife to kill me, and you'd die first from fear. Spency, I'm not scared of you, she said, and I laughed. Sure you aren't, I said, and she got pissed. She tried stabbing me but ended up grazing her arm. The idiot still didn't hold the knife in the right direction. She screamed in pain, and just then Damon entered. "Damon, look what she did to me," she said, sobbing, and I looked at her in disbelief. "I told you to kill her, but you didn't. Now look what she did." Damon turned to look at me, and his look screamed anger. It seemed as if the girl was someone he held to heart, probably his sister if he had any. "Or, damn 𝐊𝐿𝐳, what were you doing staying near her?" he asked. "Or his beloved 𝐊𝐳? What a dumb ass. And you, why did you do that to her? Didn't I tell you to stay up? You can't just go around harming people. What on earth did she do that you did this to her? She asked for food, and when I didn't give her she threatened to kill me and did this," she continued, sobbing. "Oh please, you did that to yourself while trying to stab me, remember? It's all you, not me," I said, pointing out the truth. "Shut up," Damon shouted at me. "Shut the hell up. I'm going to warn you, if you do this again there'd be consequences." "She did it, not me. I didn't do anything. Not even touch her." I said, "Shut up. Get out of here now," he shouted. I felt humiliated. He didn't even want to listen to me or believe me because of his 𝐊𝐳, whom he presumed she could do no wrong. What a manipulative bitch. If there was something I couldn't stand, being lied upon was one of those things. I said, "Get out of here." "Don't worry, sweetheart, you're going to be fine. Someone go get the doctor." She was the bitch here, and he still called her sweetheart. I was hurt with the way he spoke to me. Deeply hurt, but I wasn't expecting him to believe me either. I walked out of the kitchen, making sure to slam the door hard. Chapter 11. I walked up the stairs to the room. I was totally angry and decided to sleep it off. I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't get food to eat, considering I had hurt his 𝐊𝐳. I really didn't like her because she was with him, and I knew he liked her more than he supposedly liked me, but her being manipulative, that's just the worst. I hated her now. I don't even get what Damon sees in her anyway. Yeah, she's pretty and all, but she certainly wasn't an innocent angel. I laid on the bed trying to take my mind off them by thinking of our journey tomorrow. I knew it wasn't going to be easy at all waking into the vampire's territory without being killed, but we had to find a way somehow. I sighed loudly, turning to look at the pillow. Sometimes I wished I was a non-living thing and couldn't feel any emotional or physical thing at all, then all these wouldn't even have an effect on me. The door opened to reveal a girl not less than 12. She walked in carrying a tray of food, and I was so happy. Thank God he decided not to starve me, cause I don't think I would have survived another day. "I just leave your food here, ma'am," she said, going to put it on the table, and I noticed that her legs were shaking. I still don't get what I did to them that made them afraid of me. Before she could place the food on the table, her legs gave out and the tray fell off her hands, causing the plates to break and the food to go to waste. I was pretty mad. Only God knew if he'd give me food after this. "I'm so sorry," she said, picking it up. "Go get something to take it out." "You'd hurt yourself," I said, and she just nodded, but still continued anyway, and Damon walked in. "What's going on here?" he asked. "I mistakenly broke the plate, sir." "I'm clearing it out." "Don't you know better than not to use your hands? Go get something to take it out," he said, and she hurried out. "You're tired being with your sweetheart. What do you want?" I asked coldly. "If you're mad at me, leave 𝐊𝐳 out of this. I won't tolerate you hurting her next time. And which part if I wasn't the one that did it, don't you understand? I don't want to hear anything, okay? Fine. Don't listen because your girl is so innocent. The perfect Luna. Your sweetheart," I said mockingly. "That's enough," he shouted. There was something about the way he said it that made me shut up, and also because I had nothing to say and wanted to give him the silent treatment. "Why exactly did you do it?" he asked, and I ignored him, getting comfortable in the bed and pulling the covers over my body. "If you're jealous about me being with her, your little stunt wouldn't help that. 𝐊𝐳 𝐷𝐞𝐬𝐵 𝐊𝐳 𝐬𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐃𝐅𝑠𝑎 I am disgusted, and you could be with whoever you want. I don't give a damn, Damon Salvatore. I don't give a damn about you or your stupid sweetheart. But don't you think your standards are quite low? For someone who's gotta be your mate, she's quite dumb. She's scared and probably has a lot of insecurities. She couldn't even hold a knife properly to attack me, and that's why she got herself injured. If she can't protect herself, how then can she protect you or the pack? That's none of your business. You're just saying that because you want me and you think you'd make a better Luna than 𝐿𝐻𝐳 I don't want you, Damon. I told you I can do without you, and I don't think I can make a better Luna than how I know so, but too bad I'm not interested in you or your pack. I've got better things to think of you now, and you're not even in the list and never will be, I said, and he just laughed. You won't be saying that in the future, he said with a smirk. I didn't know what to reply with that 𝐿𝐻𝐳, and was glad when the girl walked in with my food and walked out immediately. Don't you have alpha duties to attend to? I asked when he was still standing. You're still leaving tomorrow? He asked. Yeah. I'm going away from you, never to see you again. I'm so happy, I said, smiling, the feelings mutual. I can't wait for you to be out of the way, he said, smirking. Now that's all said. Kindly leave, I said, and he scoffed. I'm leaving now not because you are asking me to, but because I have better things to do, he said, leaving. Yeah, right. Out, Damon, I said, and he just rolled his eyes as he slammed the door. Finally I get to eat. The food consisted of pasta, chocolate cake and orange juice. I ravished the dinner with a smile. After I finished eating, someone came to take the plates out, while I went to the other room in search of the guys. I opened the door to see them arguing about something, and they immediately kept quiet when I entered. What's up? I asked, looking at them suspiciously. Nothing. They both answered with a glum look, and I just decided to let it go for now. So we're still leaving tomorrow? Jonathan asked, and I answered in the affirmative. Now that I think about it, we could stay here. The trip would be far too dangerous. Yeah. We just have to, and then, looking for a good witch that'd help with the protection spell that's hard and we don't know when next. Before he completed his statement, I was thrown to a wall, hitting my head furiously on it, causing me to scream. She's on it, Jonathan said while Sam came to meet me, holding me down, but it didn't last long, cause the next minute, I was thrown to another wall, hanging my head on it, and I screamed in pain. I thought it was just going to be that, but what came next was worse. I felt like I was stabbed with a knife repeatedly on every part of my body, causing me to scream in agony. This was far worse than the first one, and I just kept screaming. Compared to this, the first one was nothing. Chapter 12. I screamed in pain as the lower part of my stomach started hurting. Before I could get over that, I was thrown to the farthest part of the room, causing me to scream as my head started hurting me. I could make out tiny details like Sam coming to meet me and Jonathan holding me down, and then someone walking in. Wait, was it Damon? Before I could make out what he was here for, another scream escaped my mouth, and before I knew it, he was beside me, holding me, pushing Jonathan away. What's happening? He demanded, looking from Jonathan to Sam. I could feel that I was going to be thrown somewhere again, but they held me down and I didn't. It continued like that in the stabs too, but after a while it ended. I probably looked a mess. During the course of her throwing me around, my beanie fell off and my hair was like a bird's nest, and my head and body was aching terribly. You're okay now? He asked, and for once his tone held a bit of concern. Just a bit though. No, I'm not, I replied. My head hurts and so does all other part of my body, and yet you're asking me if I'm okay. Do I look okay to you? A simple yes or no would have been all right, he said, and I just ignored him, and then he surprisingly carried me, not like the way he did before, but bridal style. I protested at first, although I was enjoying the feels it was creating. He took me to his room, the one he took me to the other day, and placed me gently on the bed. Hold on a little. The doctor would be here any time soon, he said, and on cue the doctor walked in. It was a female doctor dressed in a casual clothes. She was pretty in a way. So where do you feel pains? Everywhere, I answered, and she nodded, then opened a suitcase I didn't know she was even with, then gave me some medicine to stop the pain. She left after I had taken the medicine, leaving just Damon and I. You're feeling good now? He asked, and I was wondering why he was being nice. Yeah, bit, but I'm sleepy, I answered. Okay, sleep then. I get you something to eat when you're awake, he said, and I drifted off to sleep, the pain still disturbing me. I woke up feeling better. I looked around me expecting to find food, but I found nothing. I checked the clock and it read 12:30 am. I slept for a long amount of time, and now I'm hungry, and we also had to leave before dawn tomorrow. I could hear footsteps approaching the room, and I quickly put on my beanie, but it was just Damon. Didn't know you were up already. Got you something to eat, he said, walking in with a tray of food and placing it in front of me. Eat up, I was going to, even if you don't tell me, I said, taking a spoonful of the food. That's the thanks I get. Remind me not to do something for you again, he said, and I laughed. That's impossible, I told him. After eating, I went back to sleep. Some minutes later, I noticed a figure beside me, which was obviously Damon, and I put a pillow in between us so we wouldn't be close to each other. I was running through the woods away from something that was chasing me. I haven't seen it yet, but I knew it was massive because of the way the earth shook with every step it took. I don't know why it was chasing me, but I knew I couldn't stop and ask and just kept on running. I had no idea where I was going, but I just kept on running. It was pitch black, but I still managed to see due to my wolf ability. Beads of sweat was forming on my body and I was panting heavily but ignored it. It was getting closer and I was getting scared. I didn't want to know what it was or what it could do and decided not to look back at it. I didn't look at where I was going and hit my leg on a fallen tree, and to top it all, my leg got stuck in a root. As I struggled to get free from the root, I could see it approaching. It was a massive beast with scary red eyes. I didn't look at it again and concentrated on getting my leg out of the root, but it wasn't working and I started panicking. I tried again and it didn't work and the beast was getting closer. I remembered I had powers and burnt it, and then I was free and started running again. The beast roared and I could feel the hairs on my back stand, but still kept running, but it was short-lived when I noticed I had reached the end of the road and was at a cliff. I gulped as I noticed the beast coming my way. I had nowhere to run to and facing the beast or jumping off the cliff. I gulped as I made my decision. I was about jumping down when the beast got hold of me and threw me to a tree, and I hit on it forcefully before I fell down. I stood up about to run, but it got hold of me, and I gulped as I stared at it. It was big, that was for sure, and it was furry. It was probably 6 ft 9 or taller, while I looked like a baby beside it. Its big red eyes shone and it was really scary. I tried taking its hands off me, but it wasn't working, obviously. I didn't want to die like this. I didn't even know I was crying until I felt the tears run down my face. Please let me go, I managed to say after searching for my voice, but it came out more as a whimper. The beast stored and threw me again, but I landed on the floor. I ignored the pain, quickly stood up and ran, but it caught my legs and threw me again, and this was more painful. I still tried to run away, crawling, but it caught me again and I screamed as it pulled me on the floor with its powerful hands. Let me go, I said, sobbing, and it left me alone. I sighed in relief, but it kept on moving towards me and I kept on moving backwards until I hit my back on a tree and I gulped. Please don't kill me. The beast roared and I attacked it using fire, but it had no effect on it, and it got so angry before using its claw to tear at my skin, particularly from my left shoulder to my chest, and I let out a loud scream in agony before falling down on the floor. Chapter 13, Damon's POV. She kept on turning around and it was making it difficult for me to sleep. I sighed in frustration and got up from the bed. I was on my way to the guest room when I turned to look at her and noticed there was something off about, and she was turning and rubbing the sheets roughly, and then it occurred to me that she could be having a nightmare. I rushed to her, tapping her lightly, hoping she'd wake up, but nothing happened. I kept on doing that, but she was still asleep. Come on, you have to wake up, I said, tapping her. Let me go, she shouted, followed by a scream. I could notice tears strolling down her cheeks and could see a bruise forming on her wrist. Maybe 𝐿𝐸 was attacking her in her dreams. I still wanted to hear her story from her. I really didn't understand, but I knew that she was running away from 𝐿𝐸 and she wanted to go to the vampire kingdom and the witch's land to get a protective spell against what 𝐿𝐸 does to her. I really wanted to get to know her, but I know she'd be leaving today and wanted nothing to do with me, which was obviously for the best. I really didn't want her to be with me cause I wasn't good enough for her, and having her by my side would just make it easy for my enemies to get to me through her, and I didn't want her to be my weakness, so it was best if nothing happened between us. Come on, wake up, I urged, continuously tapping her. She was panting heavily now, perhaps running away from who or what was going to attack her, and beads of sweat was forming on her forehead. Wake up, would you? I urged, still tapping her, not wanting her to get hurt in her nightmare cause I could see it was affecting her physically. She was thrown off from the bed before I knew it, and I was expecting her to have woken up, but she was still sleeping and I kept on trying to wake her up. I didn't want to leave her side while going to get Sam and Jonathan to help, cause I don't know what else could happen, and I knew they weren't going to be of any help. She had to wake up on her own. I had to wait patiently for her to wake up, and she finally did after what seemed like hours with a loud scream. She was still panting heavily and I could still see a line of tears, and I really didn't like seeing her that way. She looked scared and vulnerable, so I pulled her into a hug, but what I wasn't expecting was for her to put her hands around me and cry. She seemed like the one that would reject the offer of a hug and act tough, so it was quite surprising that she let down her guard. I really haven't done this for anyone, and I liked that I was able to do this for her even if it really didn't mean anything. I pulled her closer to me and just let her cry on my chest while I stroked her hair. It was really soft and the color looked good on her, and I really liked it. What I didn't understand was why she covered it up, cause it was beautiful and so was she. Don't worry, you'd get over it someday. Everything would be alright in the end, I said, trying to calm her down, but it seemed like I had hit a nerve. You're 𝐼𝐸𝐻, when would this end come? I've basically been running away from all sorts of things for 2 years. Isn't it enough to be the end? She said, getting away from me. I just had to open my mouth to try to soothe her. Now, look, I caused. What am I supposed to say now? I'm not good at this kind of stuff. I should have just walked out when she woke up. You should go back to sleep or something, I said, having no idea of what to say next. I know this wasn't even good to. She just rolled her eyes and entered the bathroom, locking the door. 𝐿𝐻𝐼𝐺 POV. I don't know what came over me to cry in front of him or even hug him back. It's not like I regretted it, I just didn't want to look weak or seem as if I needed his help or support. I could do it all on my own and clearly didn't need him. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked like a mess. My hair was scattered around my face and my face was just bad. I raised my shirt up to see a long claw mark on my shoulder to my chest. It still hurts, but not as much as it did before. Sure, it'd heal fast, but it would surely leave a scar, and I didn't like it, but I was used to it now. I have terrible nightmares, always running from something or someone, and then they hurt me, and it always happened in reality. I didn't know what this beast was. This was the first attack from the beast. Usually it was from 𝐿𝐻𝐼𝐺 or other creatures, but this beast scared me more, and although it was the first attack, I knew certainly it wasn't the last. I sighed, running my hands through my hair. I was starting to feel like there wasn't an end to this. Do I get to suffer like this until I die? I decided to take my mind off that, and my thoughts subconsciously drifted to him. He seemed a little bit nice today. Just a teeny bit. I liked the fact that he was here for me today, and I was so surprised when he hugged me. His touch was so divine and intoxicating. It made me craving for things beyond a hug, imagining his hands doing other things to me. If he could create this much sensation from a hug, how much more when? I was beginning to create a mental image of us, and I really didn't need that. I really needed to stop thinking about him. I'd be gone today, and we probably won't hear from each other again, perhaps maybe when he hears about my death in the hands of the witches, vampires, or even 𝐿𝐻𝐼𝐺. I sighed, frustrated. Why did my life have to be so fucking complicated? I would have been absolutely fine with being an ordinary werewolf, having a mate that'd love me and no one else, and most importantly a peaceful life free of all this shit. But look what happens instead. I'm not ordinary. My mate's a big bad alpha that doesn't like me but someone else. I can't even be with him to begin with because I had to take care of things with myself first, and to top it all, he didn't even look like he wanted me to be with him. I'm even sure he'd be more than happy when he discovers that I'm dead, so he could happily make the bitch Chi-Chi his Luna. I'd so love to scratch her pretty face with my claws as a ghost while he's making her his Luna, and cut off his balls so they wouldn't be able to have any pup, and then he'd know better to stay away from her. I really needed to stop thinking about crazy things. I still stared at the scar, and it wasn't good in any way. I felt so useless not doing anything to the beast. Not that it did have affected it though, but still, yet I could have tried. What will happen if it gets to me in reality? I have to put up a fight even if it doesn't end well. I have to be stronger than this. I wasn't given powers just for fun. I was given to protect myself and others around me. I have to learn to attack in full force and not stop till I got the desired result, and that was causing immense pain or even death to everything and everyone that tried to hurt me. Chapter 14. I woke up to find myself on the bed very close to a rock-hard body. I took in its scent and recognized it to be my mate's. I had no idea when I slept, but I remember clearly putting up a stack of pillows separating us. But now we were so close, and I liked the feel of his body against mine. He looked so calm sleeping. One wouldn't know he was annoying and authoritative as hell. I had no idea how his pack stood him, but they had no other option. I knew I should have gotten up and left, but I just wanted to stay in his arms cause I don't know, but that it ever happened and I liked the feeling. I wish he wasn't such a douchebag. Maybe I won't even go in the first place and stay with him knowing I was safe for the meantime, but I had to do this. It was what's best for me. I took in his features. His hair was disheveled and I had the impulse to run my fingers through it. His lashes were long and full and his nose was pointed and his lips. Gosh, his lips were so tempting, and I remembered our kiss. I was so tempted to outline his lips with my fingers, but I stopped. He shifted a little and I thought he was going to wake up, but he just pulled me closer, held me tightly, and I kinda liked it. Having him this close to me, holding on to me this way, was good, but it's a pity that he's not holding on to me. I really didn't want to stay here anymore cause I had a feeling that I'd fall and it'd be pretty hard, and I don't want that. Besides, we'd make it impossible due to our incessant bickering. I struggled to get away from his grip, but it just tightened and I left it at that. Please, don't leave me, he said pleadingly. His voice sounded as if he was struggling with his demons, but then he's won already, or maybe he was begging 𝐿𝐻𝐻 to stay with him. I got angry thinking it was 𝐿𝐻𝐻. I really didn't want to be mistaken for that bitch. No wonder his voice sounded so pleading. I didn't know how the anger took over, but I pushed him until he was down on the floor wide awake. What the hell was that about? He shouted, sending me death glares. You were gripping me tightly and I didn't like that and wanted to get away from you. Instead of holding me like that, you could get a pillow if you want to cuddle so much, or better still, you could get your 𝐿𝐻𝐻. I bet you both would very much enjoy it. I said it. I knew it was taking all that was within him not to do something rash. I don't get why you behave the way you do. Oh wait, it's your jealousy that's killing you. I have no idea what gets your panties in a twist, but you should keep your bitchy attitude and mood swings to yourself. 𝐿𝐻𝐻 means nothing to me. Neither do you. He said, his anger evident in the way he spoke, and walked into the bathroom, slamming the door hard. You really had to push him totally out. Kudos, just when I thought he was getting nice. You just have to always open your mouth and ruin things. You have to stop being jealous of his 𝐿𝐻𝐻. You're his mate, for God's sake. He wouldn't dare choose anyone over you, and you know it, yet you just keep on pushing him out. Kudos to you. I don't have the chance to be with my mate. Well done, she said, and backed out, not wanting to hear what I had to say, and that was when I realized that I had outdone myself this time. I waited for him to be out of the bathroom while raking my hands through my hair furiously. I screamed in frustration. Why did things turn out like this? I shouldn't have said anything and just let him hold me, but I was enjoying his touch and I didn't want to get used to that. He came out of the bathroom a few minutes later, all dressed, and didn't spare a glance at me, and just left, not saying a word. What was I expecting him to say anyway? I got into the bathroom, taking my time to shower. God knows when I'd ever see a bath again. I came out tying his towel around my body, trying to find something to wear. I couldn't wear his clothes, that's for sure. I didn't want to aggravate him further than I already have. I came out of the bathroom to see the bag our weapons were kept. He really wants me out. Next to it was a pile of clothes, which I was thankful that he at least considered that. I got dressed wearing the beanie after dressing up. I took the bag and walked out of the room, knowing I'd probably never be here again. I walked into the room. Sam and Jonathan were, and they were ready to leave. She finally comes out. Sam said we were going to come get you, but we didn't want to interrupt anything. Jonathan said with a smirk, then winked. You wouldn't have interrupted anything, cause there was nothing to interrupt now. Can we get going? I said angrily. Last night got you cranky. He didn't please you much. His scent is good on you, you know. Jonathan continued, and I was losing it. You say one more word that has to do with all the stupid things you've been spitting out since, and I'd freeze you to death. I threatened. Nice dryly, but we both know that you love me too much to do that, but you are free to do so as a favor when the vampire clan attacks us. I'd pretty much prefer freezing to death, thanks for the idea, he said, and I just got angrier. Surely Jonathan was going to be on my neck throughout the day. Let's just go now, Sam said, dragging Jonathan as we left the room. Hope you've said your goodbyes to lover boy, Jonathan said. Sadly, I haven't, and I don't think I could do that. It was better to leave unnoticed. Jonathan shut the hell up. You're pissing me off, I said, and he just shrugged. Come to think of it, me leaving without saying a word to him was not actually nice. We may not have had best relationship, but at least he gave me food when I was hungry and clothed me, also providing temporary shelter. Although he was annoying as hell, I actually enjoyed pissing him off and he had provided the basic necessities. At least I should be grateful for that despite his behavior. You better go tell him you're leaving and better apologize and thank him, Alexis shouted at me. I know she's furious and all, but I'm not apologizing, not unless he does. Thinking about Loverboy. Jonathan arched, twitching his brows and winking, and I just lost it then. I slapped the back of his head, then tripped him with him landing on the hard floor. I got hold of his hands and twisted it around until he was screaming in pain. He disturbed me again, and I'd not wait until we have up High Kingdom before freezing you to death. I said, letting go of him. I have something to do. I'd be down in a few. I said to Sam. What? Off to kiss Loverboy goodbye. Jonathan said, and this time it was Sam that smacked him. Learn to shut up, would you? I smiled, happy at what Sam didn't follow my mate sent to an office. He was alone there, so that gave me a tiny courage to knock. Who the hell is it? What did I say about disturbing me when I tell you not to bother me? He questioned angrily, and I wondered if I was the one that put him in this mood with my talk this morning. I opened the door a little and walked in, closing it firmly behind me. What the hell are you still doing here? He asked angrily. Well, I just came to say goodbye and thank you for what you've done for me. I said, and his face held no emotion. That said, you can leave. He said coldly, pointing at the door. What the hell was I expecting? That he'd kiss me goodbye? Oh please. Why did I even come here anyway? Stupid Alexis for making me do that. I'm not stupid. The stupid one's you for making him angry all the time. I ignored her of his offer, slamming the door hard. If I mean nothing to him, then he means the same to me. What a waste of time. Chapter 15. When do we get there? I asked tiredly, and my response was the sound of gunshot. I think we're here already, Sam said, and we both looked at each other, fear evident in our features. Who dares come upon our territory? A vampire spoke, showing off his fangs, and I took a step backwards and swallowed. A bunch of wolves and a wizard trying to find help from a vampire. I said, but it came out more as a question than a statement. Before I knew it, we were surrounded by 5 vampires who were close to us and had gawped again. Give us one reason why we shouldn't kill you. Because we're good-looking and harmless, Jonathan asked, and they looked at us with an evil smirk. Please, everyone knows that vampires are sexier than werewolves and are as deadly. One spoke up. On a more serious note, we'd have to get you guys to the Vampire King. As much as I want to suck all your blood, is the Vampire King that decides how to end your fate. He said in a serious tone, then before I knew it we were made unconscious. Come on, what's with people and splashing cold water to wake someone up? I said angrily. You should be glad we decided to use cold water. We usually use extremely boiled water. The guard said, and I just shut up. I'd rather they wake me up a billion times with water that's almost freezing than hot water. That would be so bad with it peeling my skin off and all. I shuddered by merely thinking of this. I was more than glad. Drag them out, he ordered, and that's how we would rag to the vampire chambers. The place looked like where the Voltor is in Twilight State, expect that this place was finer. I shuddered just thinking of what they did to Edward Cullen there. Oh please, I don't want to die. What do we have here? The Vampire King said, his voice harsh and cold. Well, he was literally. Is it just me, or is anyone else scared out of their wit? Jonathan asked, gulping. Come on guys, we're not going down without a fight, Sam said, while Jonathan and I stared at him as if he just grew an extra head. I don't know about you guys, but I want to get out of here. I think I'm gonna pee on my pants, Jonathan said, and we both laughed. And let me tell you, this didn't really go down well with them. Remind us why we're here again, I asked, really regretting my decision, and I really don't even remember what we need a vampire for. Can't it be more easy, like, hey dude, I need one of your vampires, and he's like, oh here you go darling, and boom, we root here like the speed of light. What were you doing on my land? No wolves or any other creatures have dared wander around it than to talk of reaching the border, so you're going to tell me what it'd be snack to go round? The Vampire King spoke cruelly, and I shuddered. I haven't really seen myself as a source of food, and it made me wonder if I taste great. I mean, I get to taste as good as I look, right? I really didn't want to be the first person to speak, 'cause let's face it, I'd probably say something that'd piss him off, and he'd be in front of me in a second, snap my neck and bite it before I can even do anything. Sam was braver than us and spoke up. We need a vampire to accompany us on our journey, and we were hoping we could get one, he said, and the vampire laughed. And what makes you think I'd give one to you? I'm done with you guys. He said you guys can enjoy the snack, they smell good. No, wait. You can't just kill us. We've walked for days hungry and tired just to get here, and when we finally get you, our request is turned down. We're not leaving here without what we came for. I said, that's if you'd be leaving here. He said with a smirk, then went off. Great. Now we're doomed. About 10 vampires were in the large chamber, their fangs out, looking at us hungrily as they strode towards us slowly. Well, that's what I thought, until one pounced on me. He was hovering over me and I kicked him hard, getting him off me for only a second. He tried reaching out to my neck to bite it, but I prevented that by holding his neck, and I wasn't really sure how much more I could hold on to it. Eventually he bit my hand and I let out a scream, pushing him with all I've got. The bite wasn't enough to kill me, but all the same it hurt, and he had my blood on his lips. You taste good, darling, he said, smirking. I know, right? I can't be this good looking and taste bad. I said, I want you so bad. He said, about to bite me again, and I kicked him in the groin, snatching a knife from my boots and throwing it at his stomach. He screamed in pain, then took it out. He really didn't look affected by it that much and didn't look pleased in any way, charging at me with all his sense of humor gone. I was so tempted to use my powers and burn the dude, but the consequences weren't that nice. I could be captured and killed, or he'd just take me to law, and either way, I'd be exposed, and it'd mean I just got less safe. It was pretty hard fighting against vampires. Sam was using his powers because clearly he was a wizard and did enough to hide it, while Jonathan had shifted into his big brown wolf, leaving just me fighting them on my own with no powers. And then you're probably thinking I'm stupid and should shift, but I can't. I don't think I ever have and don't think I can. My mom said it was dangerous for me if I ever shifted, and right now I don't want to try that out, and even if I wanted to, I couldn't. The vampire was over me again, his teeth centimeters away from my neck, when Sam burnt him with his powers. It was good to see they were handling it pretty well, while I was barely managing, and I didn't like that. I don't like feeling defenseless. I topped up my game and managed to kill a vampire on my own without my powers. It was pretty hard, but I did it, and I'm so proud of myself. I freaking killed a vampire without my powers or anyone's help. When we had killed the vampires assigned to kill us, the Vampire King walked in, a look of uttermost shock on his face. And impressed. You guys kill them now, that's a first, he said with a little bit of impressed look, but it was gone. I'd like to see you get past this once. They are newborns and would be 10 times harder to defeat, he said coldly. Bring it on, old man, Sam said with a smirk, and Jonathan looked at him utterly shocked. You asked for it, the Vampire King said with a very evil grin plastered on his face. Before he could release the newborns on us, we heard a clear, loud voice shouting at him to stop, and we all turned around to see who it was. Chapter 16, picture of Vulcan at the top. Can anyone suggest another name for the book? I'd like something that has wolf, alpha, and mate. Kindly let me know through comments or private message. Thanks. We all turned to look at who it was. I was literally looking at the guy. When the vampire said that they were hotter than werewolves, it was only applicable to this guy, but hey, my Damon is still hotter. I can't believe I even thought of that. The guy was handsome. He had lovely brown hair and golden brown eyes and totally white skin with red lips that made me wonder if he got that by the amount of blood he sucked. But I still prefer Damon, though. Stop it, he said, and within seconds he was in front of the Vampire King. You're going to have to let us go. I told you, Vulcan. No one is leaving this place, the Vampire King said. I'm going to leave this place with them, and you're not going to say anything. How else am I going to find my mate if I'm always here? Vulcan shouted. Yeah, give the guy a shot, Jonathan said, hoping to say something that would let him let us go. Shut the hell up, wolf, the Vampire King shouted angrily, and his voice echoed throughout the room in a scary way. I wanted to laugh at how scared Jonathan got immediately, but I stopped. I told you that I had a vision where they were going to come and I was going to go with them and find my mate, and look, they're here and I'm going to go with them, Vulcan said, and the Vampire King was about to say something, but Vulcan cut him off rudely. I'm going to go with them no matter what you say, he said with a tone of finality. Fine, but if you leave this place you never get to come back. Not even when I'm dead," he said sternly, his tone threatening and warning. "We both know I'd be needed when you're dead to ascend the throne, and guess what, you won't be able to do a damn thing about it cause you'd be dead," Vulcan said, and McKim's look had a sense of resignation. "Fine, but only because you said you find your mate and the kingdom would need you to have a mate for you to ascend the throne. Now you're talking, old man," Jonathan said happily, his face having a wide grin. "I did too. We were out of danger for the meantime." The Vampire King turned to look at us. His look was as scary as hell, and Jonathan hid behind Sam. When the king had gotten what he wanted, he turned to look at us down disgustingly before leaving. "Sorry about that. That's my dad, as you know, and he's tough to handle, as you've seen. I'm Vulcan 𝐨𝐴𝐻, and you guys are." We all introduced ourselves, and he let out a over me smile, saying he was pleased to meet us. Who knew we would be exchanging pleasantries with the vampire prince? "Thanks for the save, dude, we owe you. Our ass would have been whipped out there," Jonathan said. "Yeah, thanks." Sam and I added, "It's nothing. I did it for my own good too. But thanks anyway. Your father scares the hell out of me. I wonder how you've coped being with him your entire life while I was here for some minutes and I nearly peed on my pants," Jonathan said while he laughed. "I'd take you guys to your specific rooms so you can rest. I assume we'd leave early tomorrow morning." "Yes, we would," we answered. "You guys would have to make do without dinner, except if you wouldn't mind blood," he said with a smirk. "We can live without food for a couple of days, thank you," Jonathan said, fake gagging at the thought of living on blood. "As you wish," he said, smirking. He showed us to a room, and once I just did all the necessary things that needed to be done in the bathroom and laid on the bed trying to sleep, but couldn't trying to stop thinking about Damon. I still can't get over the way he told me to leave as if I was a piece of gum stuck on his ass that he was so eager to get rid of. I wished I was blessed with a loving mate, but look what I got. I screamed in annoyance, throwing the pillow on the floor. What a stupid mate. Couldn't I had gotten someone nice? Someone better that wasn't named Damon freaking Salvatore. I screamed in frustration, after tossing and turning in bed trying to get my mind off him. I still couldn't get my mind off him, and it made me wonder what he was doing. Maybe him and 𝐊𝐿𝐲 were doing around. Maybe that's why I was so uncomfortable like the other time, and it was so annoying. It hurts to know that he knows I exist and still yet he does stuff with someone else. It really wouldn't have bothered me if he was like that before I came, then stopping when he met me, but it was Damon Salvatore I was talking about here. The ruthless, cold, annoying alpha who doesn't care about anything or anyone, not even his mate. "I'm hungry," I whined as we walked out of the vampire kingdom. "I thought you could live without food for a couple of days," Vulcan said, quoting Jonathan. "Well, those couple of days I started trying to defend myself. Anyway, the point is that I'm hungry. There is a tree not far from here that bears fruit," Jonathan said. "What else is it supposed to bear, Jonah?" I asked. "Leaves," he asked, and we all face-palmed ourselves. "As your friend," Vulcan started, but Jonathan cut him off. "I'm perfectly alright. I just need to get over the tension of being with a vampire or what lies ahead. He said I won't hurt you guys." Vulcan said, "I don't doubt that. It's still not comfortable. What if you're hungry and we're sleeping? You could suck our blood." Jonathan said, "I won't do that." He promised, and Jonathan just nodded. "So how do we get to the witch's land?" "Well, it's not that easy, and since we're looking for a good witch, she'd probably be in hiding, not wanting to be found, but since I know where she lives it'd be easy a bit. We just need to cross the feisty river. The troll's land and the dragon's land," Sam stated as if it wasn't a big issue. "Wow, I'm not scared at all. We're going to go through all that and casually say that as if it's nothing," Jonathan said, panicking. "Hopefully we'd get through it." I said, trying to convince Jonathan and myself, "May I ask why we'd be going through all that?" Vulcan asked, and we all turned to look at him. We haven't told him yet. We really didn't trust him, but he'd find out somehow, so it was best we told him now than later, or him finding out from someone that turned him against us. "We're going to visit a friend," Sam answered. "All that, to visit a friend?" he asked, not buying it. "Well, we need a favor from that friend," Jonathan chipped in. He asked, "Let's just tell him." "Well, I need help. To my agent 𝐿𝐴𝐻 𝐸𝐿𝐻 Hearts out saints 𝐊𝐢𝐻𝐬𝐷 𝐾𝐸𝐬𝐵. Okay, what's up?" You're not going to die anytime soon, are you? From a sickness, no, but from someone killing me, yes. Who exactly? The famous. The one. The only. 𝐊𝐢𝐳, I said with fake enthusiasm while Sam and Jonathan cheered and Vulcan laughed. That's bad. Why does she want to kill you, 𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐸? You're the one destined to ruin her, Vulcan said surprised. 𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐸, 𝐊𝐴𝐺𝐸. So she's your sister. I totally didn't expect to hear this. You said same here. I never even knew I had a sister until 2 years ago. 𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐸, 𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐸. I remembered the night that was supposed to be the best night of my life. I was sitting in front of the mirror staring at myself. I was wearing a beautiful pink gown and my beautiful silky black hair was styled in an elegant neat bun. I was currently waiting for my mom to come so we could go out to the party. I sat down patiently waiting for her while playing Samurai Fighters on my phone. I was done with the game and looked up to the mirror and saw my hair a completely different color. My hair that was black minutes ago was white and I was panicking. I don't even know how that happened, and just in time my mother walked in. Mom, look what happened. My hair is white. I screamed, calm down, honey. It's all right. She didn't even look surprised by it. You knew this would happen. Why is it happening? I asked, panic-stricken. It's all right. Everything would be fine. You'd set things right. Set what right? I asked, confused. Honey, you have to understand. Everything we've been doing was. She's here, Luna. We have to leave, Jonathan said, walking in. Who's here? I asked, confused, still panicking. We need to hurry. My mom said, bringing out a bag from my closet and stuffing clothes in it. Can someone please tell me what's going on here? I still don't have any idea why my hair is white. I said, you must leave now. She said, giving Jonathan the bag. Where are we going to? I asked. Lee, honey, you have to leave. My dad said, walking in. He looked like he was involved in a fight. Throwing me out on my birthday. Completely nice. I said sarcastically, honey, no matter what happens, you have to understand that we love you. My parent said, hugging me. What's happening? You guys are scaring me. I said, nearing sobs. Jonathan, you and Sam should take Lee out of here and keep her safe at all times. My dad said, yes, Alpha. We do that. Come on, Lee, let's go. Jonathan said, you need to leave now, Lee, she said, wearing a black hoodie for me. Don't go walking around with your hair in view. Cover it always. Mom, I said, crying. We love you, Lee, now go. My dad said, and Jonathan pulled me to a secret passage in my room that I never knew was there, and once we stepped in it closed, but I could make out little things. If it isn't the best parents in the world. I heard a voice say coldly, Laurie, it's so good to see you. To what do we owe this visit? Mom said, don't play dumb with me, woman. I want the girl, the sister that's going to ruin me. No one's here, Lauren Day. Leave. My dad said, using his alpha tone. I'm not leaving here until she's dead, and I won't hesitate to kill you both if you don't tell me where she is, and you very well know what I'm capable of doing, she said wickedly. Let's go, Jonathan said, pulling me away from there, and we ran. Fiona, why do you need the witch's help? Vulcan asked, bringing me out of my reverie.